Today we're formally declaring a public safety emergency. This is an emergency. This is a tragic emergency. And it's embarrassing for me to be up here. You know, I'm going to see Putin. I'm going to Russia on Friday. I don't like being up here talking about how unsafe and how dirty and disgusting this once beautiful capital was, with graffiti all over the walls. It's another part of it, by the way, because we're talking about safety, but we're also talking about beautification. We have the most beautiful, potentially, capital in the world. We always had. But people come from Iowa, they come from Indiana, they come and then they get mugged. Not going to happen. Keep coming, because by the time you get your trip set, it's going to be safe again, and it's going to be clean very quickly. We're going to replace the medians that are falling down all over the roads. We're going to replace the potholes. We're going to put a nice new coat of asphalt over the top. No, we don't have to rip the road out and spend 7 years building a new road because they cut everything. Because some designers said, well, we need a 1/4 of an inch more turn for safety reasons. No, we're going to do it right. We're going to get it done quickly. So today we're declaring public safety emergency in the District of Columbia, and Attorney General Pam Bondi, who's fantastic, is taking command of the Metropolitan Police Department as of this moment. And I'll be making the appropriate notifications to Congress and to the mayor, our new DEA administrator, who's one of the top in the country. He better be Terry. If you're not, I'm going to get rid of you so fast. Terry Cole. Terry, thanks. Very good. We just got him, most highly recommended person. And you'll be designated as the interim federal commissioner of the Metropolitan Police Department, okay? And you run them tough. They're good. You have a lot of good people. You have people that shouldn't be there. You also have people that shouldn't be there. They got in there because of woke. But you have a lot of great police, and those people are the ones that want to help you. This city will no longer be a sanctuary for illegal alien criminals. We will have full, seamless, integrated cooperation at all levels of law enforcement, and we'll deploy officers across the district with an overwhelming presence. You'll have more police, and you'll be so happy, because you'll be safe. When you walk down the street, you're going to see police, or you're going to see FBI agents. We're going to have a lot of agents on the street. And you're going to have a lot of, essentially, military, and we will bring in the military if it's needed. By the way, we're going to have National Guard, but Pete Hegseth will tell you about it. We will bring in the military if needed. People say, oh, that's so terrible. He's going to bring in, it's been used many times. We have other cities also that are bad, very bad. You look at Chicago, how bad it is. You look at Los Angeles, how bad it is. We have other cities that are very bad. New York has a problem. And then you have, of course, Baltimore and Oakland. We don't even mention that anymore. They're so far gone. We're not going to let it happen. We're not going to lose our cities over this. And this will go further. We're starting very strongly with D.C., and we're going to clean it up real quick, very quickly, as they say. We're going to have a tremendous success in what we're doing. Other cities are hopefully watching this. They're all watching, just like everyone's watching here. They're all watching. And maybe they'll clean up.
Starting tomorrow, there will be no more homeless people allowed in Washington, D.C. The president just made this post on social media announcing his plans for tomorrow, saying, we're having a news conference tomorrow in the White House. I'm going to make our capital safer and more beautiful than it ever was before. The homeless have to move out immediately. We will give you places to stay, but far from the Capitol. The criminals, you don't have to move out. We're going to put you in jail where you belong. It's all going to happen very fast, just like the border. We went from millions pouring in to 0 in the last few months. This will be easier. Be prepared. There will be no Mr. Nice Guy. We want our capital back. Thank you for your attention to this matter. And it looks like he has already started deploying U.S. Secret Service and Customs and Border Protection officers. They were on patrol in a nightlife district last night in Washington, D.C. as part of President Trump's increased law enforcement.
Give us a home. How about that? How about just giving people that need a home inside? Then we'd be inside. You just want to just throw us to the rats.
I'm in Washington, D.C., blocks away from the White House. And there's homeless people living in this park. It's hard to imagine in this great country of ours that people cannot afford housing and live outside in tents. Tents are everywhere. I was here this summer, and walking up, I was hoping that there was less tents, meaning hoping that because it's cold, people are being moved inside. But homelessness continues to grow here and all over the United States. Rural communities, big cities, there's homelessness everywhere. We must fix the affordable housing crisis, and we must prevent an end.
Donald Trump claims there's no room for the homeless in Washington. They have to go. Now, he tweets this out today. We're having a news conference tomorrow in the White House. I'm going to make our capital safer and more beautiful than it ever was before. The homeless have to move out immediately. We will give you places to stay, but far from the Capitol. The criminals, you don't have to move out. We're going to put you in jail where you belong. And it's all going to happen really fast, just like the border. We went from millions pouring in to zero in the last few months. This will be easier. Be prepared. There will be no more Mr. Nice Guy. We want our capital back. Now remember, last month, Donald Trump signed an executive order making it easier for cities to remove the homeless people. Looks like he's sticking to that plan. He wants to clean up Washington. He wants to move the homeless people so far away and bring the criminals to justice. Seems like he has a lot on his plate, like what's gonna happen next.
If you're homeless in DC, you need to be paying attention. Trump says he's going to start breaking up the encampments and taking these people to outside of the Capitol. He's going to start concentrating them into government-made camps, and we all know how well that turns out historically. So if you're a homeless person, especially in the DC area, and your tent is with a bunch of other tents, you need to move your tent. You need to find an area that they won't be able to find you, hopefully where you won't be with a lot of other homeless people, because the more of you that are in one area, the easier it'll be for them to grab you and throw you into cars and then take you off to these facilities. They're going to concentrate these people into camps, like they've always done historically. And they always start with immigrants and homeless people, and they always call them criminals. And poverty is the #1 cause of crime, but they don't want to do anything about poverty. They'd rather spend hundreds of billions of dollars on police and ICE to round up innocent people and throw them into camps. So if you're homeless, you better start paying attention.
I see there's a lot of sanitation workers up ahead, so I'm going to go ahead and walk up that way. There's still a lot of other tents that are here, lots of them. This is just a very small number of them that are being taken down, but they're being taken down little by little. And here is actually another one, right in front of me. It's the chair right here. Over with a pink blanket, and there are just seems like somebody was here, living here, and they just left all of these sadly all of these items behind. But yeah, this was somebody's home, someone's couch, and now sanitation is taking it away. I think they're trying to figure out what to take first, but they're taking it away. I don't believe anyone is in there right now. I think many of them have left. I know that the sweep was scheduled for 10 a.m. this morning, so there's a big chance that a lot of them left before 10 and took what they could and just left behind most of their belongings. As you can see here, yeah, there's no one in there. There's no one in there. And one of the reasons the city claims that this is happening is because apparently there were a lot of criminal activity, and they wanted to make sure that the park was a safe place for other residents in DC to congregate in. But I'm not really sure if that's true. I would have to really research this to see whether or not it is true that there was a lot of, I guess, criminal activity as they framed it. Exactly. They should have used the money to organize this raid to actually find solutions to housing these individuals, these residents that are living here. But unfortunately, that was not what happened. Instead, they were evicted from the only place they call home at the moment, which is this park and these tents. But I'm gonna continue to walk you guys. It is pretty sunny right now, so I do apologize if you are having a hard time looking at the screen or looking what's going on. Oh, here is another angle of the person's home. I'm gonna go ahead and squeeze in here right now. And this is actually what's left over. So you can see more of what's left over, and zooming in here, there's a lot of items here. Seems like a lot of trash that's left inside. So it's really hard to say what might have happened with this individual, if they just were living this way, or if they were just kind of left everything behind and left. That's the sense that I'm getting, but I'm not really sure. And here's another one that's being taken down. And keep in mind, you guys, these residents that were living here, this is all they have. This is all they have. They don't have a kitchen or, a garbage disposal or a bed. This is what they were doing, and this is the best that they can do for the circumstances that they have right now, that they were faced with. So it's really, I really encourage all those that are watching to have compassion and really understanding that not only were they homeless, but also a lot of them were not only were they experiencing homelessness, but a lot of them were also experiencing other things. It could have been health issues, it could have been mental health issues. It's hard to access health services when you are unfortunately experiencing homelessness. You are limited. You are truly limited.
I live in Washington, D.C., and a man named Victor, who's experiencing homelessness, who lives just a few blocks away from me and has been there for the past couple of years, he is here because he's close to resources. He is close to the food kitchen. He's close to the church that helps him out. He's close to public restrooms. He's close to public transportation. And same thing with this man experiencing homelessness. His name is Deshaun. He is oftentimes in front of our local drugstore. He's here because he's close to resources. So if you move them out, they are not close enough to a collection of places to help them out. And if more homeless people are coming to an urban center, it is probably the sign of a larger economic crisis. And while we are here, homeless people and violent crime, let's not conflate them, okay? Homeless people are much more likely statistically to be the victims of violent crime than they are to be the perpetrators. Victor and Deshaun are so sweet and so kind, and I
We will give you places to stay, but far from the Capitol. The criminals, you don't have to move out. We're going to put you in jail where you belong. It's all going to happen very fast, just like the border. We went from millions pouring in to zero in the last few months. This will be easier. Be prepared. There will be no Mr. Nice Guy.
So Donald Trump says he wants every homeless person in Washington, D.C. to move out immediately and relocate far from the Capitol. So what would enforcement actually look like? Political affiliation aside, I wouldn't doubt Donald Trump. Whether you like him or don't like him, he has a tremendous ability to get things done, whether they are legal or not. He will make precedent if he has to. In Washington, D.C., local law enforcement is under the mayor, not the president. The president could clear homeless folks from federal property, but what he'll probably do is pressure city officials to act. But forcing the city to remove folks from the streets is legally pretty shaky. The Home Rule Act gives D.C. a degree of self-governance, and courts will likely get involved very quickly. the bigger story here isn't whether Trump can legally pull this off. It is what his statement signals. We're in a brand new era of homelessness right now, and the general public is frustrated. Now, they might trust social services to help someone with housing, but they have lost trust in social services to deal with the behavior of chronic homelessness and the impact on the community. And when the general public loses trust in that, guess who they put their trust in? Elected officials, even when their ideas are aggressive and controversial. Thanks for watching.
If you are homeless in DC right now, you need to get the fuck out immediately. Trump just put out a tweet saying that they are going to be rounding all y'all up in the next day or two and putting everybody in tent cities. Pretty sure that just means concentration camps, like Alligator Alcatraz. If you are in downtown DC, get to the suburbs, get to another state. This is just the beginning, guys. They are going to start rolling this out in other places. This is their plan for the homeless. He has made homelessness illegal nationwide, and this is the first roundup they're going to be doing. And this will probably start being rolled out in other areas pretty soon. But they're starting with DC first. So if you are living on the streets in DC, I would disappear as soon as fucking possible by any means possible.
My name is Bobby Joe. I actually live in the woods. I have an 8-person family tent. Made a shower. I have a dining room. I have a couch. Have a whole big old grill. We make meals and stuff. I try to cook for as many people as I can while I'm out here.
So how long have you been out here?
This time I've been here for about 4 months.
4 months. How long you been homeless, like as a whole?
As a whole?
Yeah.
Probably like 7 years in total.
7 years?
It's been off and on, but put together it's about 7 years.
Wow. What would you say was the worst thing that happened to you since you've been out here?
In this area, every once in a while, weird people like to try to follow me. I had one person actually come right here, and I came from the other direction. He's standing right here on a bicycle, and I'm walking past, and hey, and I'm like, can I help you? And he's like, I've been waiting for you. I've been looking for you. Yeah. I know where you are. And it kind of creeped me out a lot.
Yeah.
But thankfully, he has not been back here since.
Amen. Amen. Well, I ain't gonna hold you up, man. Like I said, you just told me about this tent you got, 8-person tent. You said I have a shower. You have a...
Yep, I made a shower. Made a grill, actually, like, a barrel.
Yeah.
I cut it in half, cleaned it out, and took it was a big old oven rack that one of the restaurants had tossed out, and cleaned it up and made a grill.
Wow.
Someone donated me a couch, a futon, dining room table, chair.
All that's in the tent. Oh my gosh.
Well, some of it is outside. My grill and stuff obviously is outside. One of my couches is inside of the tent. Right. The other couch is outside. So like, when I have company and stuff.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
In the forest.
Well, I always try to come by and give you as much as I can, but I want people to reach out where they can help you, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because apparently on the 22nd, in 2 days from now, they're kicking me and everybody else that lives back here out.
Yeah, like every so often they come through and kick you out and relocate,
but it's crazy because they're coming to clean, and that's literally what we've done. If you look at the space now versus how it was before, we've cleaned so much of the junk and the trash and tires and stuff that people just throw back there.
Wow.
But with all our hard work, they're just going to kick us out. They'll let us put our stuff in storage, but then we have a certain amount of time to come get it. But if we have nowhere to go,
what you supposed to do? Yeah. But do you got like a Cash App or anything, or social media, whatever you want to give them, so they can reach out to you directly and give you anything that they can? What's your Cash App?
$THEANDREW NUDISTQUEEN.
Bet.
And I also have 3 kids.
Bet.
So,
Okay. How old are they?
7, 5, and 1. Just about everything I get, I send to my sister. Because my living situation, I don't want my kids to live here with me.
So are you from the district, though?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I grew up right there in Northeast Harlem.
And your family, they help you?
I don't really speak to my family. My little sister's really the main one that helps me for real.
I got you.
So I send her as much as I can. Anything I make, it goes to my sister.
Makes sense. Okay, then. Well,
but I'm working to get back my own place. Kendall Street, they shut those apartments down. They told us we had 2 hours to get our stuff and get out. So that's how I ended up not having a place for me and my kids to stay anymore.
Wow. Now, I appreciate you taking the time out to do this, man. Like, but I'm going to close out. I know you got stuff to do. I'm going to give you some of these items. But okay, then.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
If you don't live in D.C., you would think that, damn, D.C. is like he said, giving Baghdad or something. But it's not. It's not at all. Yes, we have issues like any other inner city.
Trump does not care about DC's safety. He cares about control. And what we know from history is that authoritarians always want to control the capital and the people in the capital city. It's because it's the fastest way to silence dissent and to accelerate their agenda.
Black people are more likely to be stopped, searched, questioned, arrested, and harmed in encounters with the law. When we add the presence of federal agents or the National Guard to daily life in these neighborhoods, the burden can multiply. Black Washingtonians have long recognized that community violence cannot be solved through state violence.
I used to do street outreach in the very parks Trump is targeting. People lived in these parks not because they wanted to, but because housing is too expensive and shelters are full or downright disgusting. These folks, like most homeless people in D.C., are D.C. natives or have deep ties to the district. They are our neighbors.
We have some news right now. We have another big protest breaking out in D.C. Hundreds of people are currently marching across the city right behind me. As you can actually see, it's not as big as the one from this morning. It's a few hundred people. And what they're marching against is what Donald Trump's takeover of the Washington, D.C. Metropolitan Police Department. Here you can see them right behind me. And at the front of the protest is a person holding a sign saying release the Epstein files, because that's ultimately what this is about. Many people say that this is just a distraction, which in a lot of ways it could be. But anyways, you have hundreds of people right now marching across DC, protesting Donald Trump's mobilization of the National Guard, protesting his federal takeover of the local law enforcement. So we'll see what happens. I'm on the ground. I'm not going anywhere. I'm providing you coverage every step of the way. Hundreds of people out here. We're good, we're safe, follow along for more, and subscribe to my Substack at the link in my bio to support my work. I'll have much more to come very soon.
Good afternoon to everyone but our stupid fucking president. I'm currently walking in DC getting my coffee that I get at lunch every day, and why am I seeing FBI? What the fuck is wrong with him? I've lived in DC now for 4 years, and I've never had a single issue. Yeah, there's crime, I'm not denying that. Every major city has crime, and DC's at a 30-year low, so why don't we just release the files and all untwist our fucking fannies?
Washington, D.C. has up to 2,700 National Guardsmen going to be deployed to the streets of Washington, D.C. That answers the question, how bad can the Epstein files be? Because literally you have to ask yourself, how bad are the files when you have Steve Miller going on to national news specifying that Washington, D.C.'s crime rate is worse than Baghdad's? That's right, because I don't remember people getting decapitated or their hands chopped off in the streets of Washington, D.C. But however, Steve Miller actually went on record as saying that the crime rate is just as bad as Baghdad or Gaza. Who knew? Well, apparently no other news articles, because no other news station has actually reported anything except for the fact that crime in Washington, D.C. is at a 30-time all-time low. That's right. So this whole story about Washington, D.C. being a crime-filled area and needing the National Guard can be nothing more than a distraction from the fact that the Epstein files haven't been released yet. And the fact that the National Guard are going to come in and actually try to deploy and be used to remove the homeless from the streets of Washington, D.C. is a travesty, considering a majority of the homeless people in Washington, D.C. are veterans. You know, the people who actually fought for our country, fought for this land, and fought for our rights, and yet they're going to be the ones locked up in cages, while the criminals of Washington, D.C. are actually in the White House or in the Pentagon. And you want to sit here and justify your actions by saying that the crime rate in Washington, D.C. is as bad as Baghdad. Are you F?
They want to forcibly institutionalize the homeless, and anybody who receives government assistance for their homelessness is going to be required to give up their health information to the government. New executive order just dropped. According to the executive order, about 275,000 people last year spent any given night on the streets, and they claim that the majority of those people are either mentally ill, have substance abuse issues, or both. And I'm not going to quibble over the numbers because that's not what's important. What they want to do, however, is shift them into long-term institutional settings for humane treatment through the use of the civil commitment process. In other words, they want to take homeless people that they allege have mental health or substance abuse issues and bring them to civil court for a determination that they need to be forcibly institutionalized. And they want to do this under some pretty broad terms. For example, people with mental illness who pose risks to themselves. In other words, think about maybe a homeless veteran with suicidal ideations from his PTSD. Or people who pose risks to the public, or are living on the streets and cannot care for themselves. It doesn't give any further explanation of what exactly that means, whether if that person is able to care for themselves or not. The discretionary grant programs are going to be reevaluated to determine whether or not the municipality or locality enforces prohibitions on open illicit drug use. So we'll talk about the safe consumption sites here in just a moment. But number two, enforce prohibitions on urban camping and loitering, and enforce prohibitions on urban squatting. In other words, these municipalities, to receive the homeless assistance funds, have to be willing to go through and essentially clear out the homeless and enforce local rules and laws on homelessness. But more importantly, to receive these funds, the municipality also has to be willing to go along with this whole civil commitment idea for people who are drug addicts or who have mental health issues. The EO also requires that the Attorney General will take all steps necessary to ensure that law enforcement has the funding for encampment removals. They also want to get rid of funding and cease activity for any places that have, safe consumption sites for drug users. But the very last one I want to talk about here is this one. Recipients of homelessness assistance funding either have to be permitted or required to collect health-related information about the participants of the program, and they have to be willing to provide that material to law enforcement.
I'm in DC right now, right at the moment. Been outside the entirety of the day. Have met with organizers, have been talking to neighbors. And one of the things that I consistently see online is people talking about, oh, DC is as safe as it's ever been. And I have a very different idea of safety. This is the Democratic mayor of DC, Muriel Bowser, who removed the emergency rental assistance program at the end of 2024. So the DC residents that have lost their jobs in 2025, potentially facing homelessness, had no backing or support from the District of Columbia because that program was extracted. That to me is danger. The removing of the housing vouchers for the people who need it most is danger. The removal of programs for our children in the District of Columbia is danger. I attempted to try to enroll my son in summer camp for 2025 back in February, and he was waitlisted 32. Now, thankfully, in being a person of privilege, having a vehicle, having access to other resources, I was able to put him in a different summer camp. But what are the options for other DC children? The Democratic Party of DC, including the Democratic Mayor Bowser, the DC City Council, rolled out the red carpet for Trump to do whatever the fuck he's doing. And until people are willing to hold their local officials accountable for the ways in which they are failing their residents daily, it's just a matter of time before one of your blue cities or states is on the chopping block.
Good morning. This is Commissioner Anthony Lorenzo Green, and it is like over 2 a.m. in the morning. I'm down here at 48th Street Northeast and Kane Place. President Trump and his Gestapo paid a visit to Deanwood tonight. Metro Transit Police, and along with other police agencies, shot at individuals on 48th Street. Thankfully, no one was hit, but there were 2 people detained. I'm still waiting for one of those individuals to be released. They've been holding him hostage in the alley in the neighborhood for a couple of hours now. And it's my understanding because he didn't do anything. He's an innocent bystander, but they decided to grab him and detain him. There were several police agencies out here: MPD, FBI, DEA, ICE, HSI, you name it. All the police resources you can name was out here in the community. Sheriff Row is still blocked off right now. So all the people that love to waste our tax dollars on all this police coverage in this city, let me tell you, a chunk of it is sitting right here in Deanwood doing nothing. So it's a shame that our community has to go through this in a city where everyone likes to pretend like this is something that just started happening when this president got in office. Fed's been invading our neighborhoods for years. Deanwood is no stranger to a long list of federal agencies coming into our community to start nonsense. And tonight is no different. The only difference is that the president made an announcement that he was doing this. So here we are, 2 a.m. in the morning, waiting for an individual to be released so everybody can go to sleep and go about their business. Maybe one of the elected officials that serve on the council that get paid to serve us will speak up and say something. Maybe our mayor will speak up and say something. I don't really care. But what I do care about is the safety of the residents in my community, ensure that they are not being hindered, impacted, and harassed, targeted by any entity in this city whatsoever. Deanwood don't play that. We have no shame about pushing back and fighting back when necessary. But tonight, we're just waiting patiently right now for one of the individuals to be released. All right.
Everyone, I'm here on the crime-ridden streets of downtown DC. I mean, really, this is terrible. There's a Lime bike there that someone left. I mean, people are walking around and driving. People are eating lunch. I mean, you couldn't ask for a worse situation, honestly. I mean, it's just evident that we need the National Guard and the FBI to be patrolling the streets. I mean, look at what's happening. I hear sirens now in the background. And look at this crime. There's a new coffee shop that is open now near the White House. I mean, do we really need another coffee shop? I think the criminal element is very happy about this. But no, obviously, this is just an absolute joke. We do not need the National Guard or FBI roaming the streets of DC, terrorizing people. The reality is that crime here is at a 30-year low, and Donald Trump is just using this as pretext to distract from how horrible of a president he has been. But federalizing the police is, frankly, disturbing at a minimum, and I will feel significantly less safe walking around now that Trump has done this than before. What an absolute joke.
Yo, so Donald Trump and his entourage has decided that they're going to pick up the homeless off the streets of Washington, D.C., and that they're going to have places to go. Remember, he talked about people with mental illness and how he was going to deport them to Salvador. And then they're going to go back and go get the criminals. What do you guys think they're going to do with all those homeless people? Because everybody that's homeless is not a criminal. Everybody that's homeless is not an addict. Some of these people have mental health illnesses going on. Then he's going to go and round up all the criminals and do what with them? Deport them? To where? I'm confused. Y'all know they up to something. And then they're going to come to our state next.
A person was detected.
How far does Trump have to take this for y'all to realize this is 1930s Germany? How far does he have to take this for y'all to realize this is 1940s Italy? This is Mussolini. This is fascism at its highest. It's so infuriating that y'all are not seeing it. And we told y'all not to vote for him. And now that we told y'all this over and over and over and over again, We the ones that have to deal with the consequences. DC, Maryland, Virginia, the DMV, people who work in the city. They're federalizing DC police. They're sending the National Guard. They're deploying the National Guard. DC isn't even top 10 in crimes in the country. The 10th most dangerous city in America is in Colorado. There's no National Guard going to Colorado. I mean, how far does he have to take this? There's no freedom of press. He's deploying the National Guard. He's attacking the homeless and the children in D.C. He's comparing D.C. to Bogota, Colombia. Does he just wake up and just spew out nonsense and then just deploy things? And who the... The amount of power and the amount of unconstitutional things that he's been able to do, it hasn't even been a year. It's barely been 6 months. I don't know, y'all. I don't even know what to say. Like, I'm really...
Well, guys, Donald Trump just announced he's taking over the Washington, D.C. Police Department under the guise of trying to cut down on a crime wave that does not exist. There is no crime wave in Washington, D.C. Donald Trump is using that lie to deploy the National Guards onto the streets of Washington, D.C. to pick up homeless people. That's the crime wave, homeless people. He has announced to the homeless people that they have to get out of Washington, D.C. If they do not leave, they will be risking being arrested. Yeah. If they don't leave, they will be risking being arrested. So he has now officially taken over the Washington, D.C. Police Department under the guise of cutting down on the crime wave, which there is none. The crime in Washington, D.C. year over year is down. It is down. There is no crime wave in December. He's just lying to justify what he wants to do, which is to unleash the National Guards onto the United States citizens. So you Trump fans, you Trump supporters, you Trump voters, you are now responsible for having the National Guard turn on its own United States citizens. This is also another thing that you will be held accountable for. Everything this man does is tied to you, the people that put him in there. You will be just as responsible for the things that happen to the people in this country as the one making the decisions, because you ushered him there. You guys lifted that criminal, that rapist, that child molester, allegedly, talk to Katie Johnson. You guys lifted him on your shoulders and placed him in that White House. And everything he does, every act, every crime he commits, the blood is on your hands. So Washington, D.C., it's finna get real. I don't know what those homeless people are gonna do, but he is setting the National Guards onto the United States citizens. So American citizens now will be accosted by the National Guard. Yes, the military is now turning on its own citizens, who they were sworn to protect from all threats, foreign and domestic. And if this man is not a threat that is currently in the House, in the presidency, if he is not a threat to this country, nothing is. Yet he is the one. He's the one dispersing the United States military onto the citizens of America. The United States citizens. Yeah. You guys put a dictator in this office who's on a serious power trip and has no scruples, no morals. And when a man like Jeffrey Epstein says you have no scruples, we in trouble. Jeffrey Epstein was quoted saying Donald Trump has no scruples. Jeffrey Epstein. The same man that said when, what was his wife's name? The second wife, Ivana, when she told Trump she was pregnant, per Epstein, Trump was considering pushing her downstairs. Pushing her down a flight of stairs. Which is oddly the same way his ex-wife died. Curiously, fell down a flight of stairs. Are you guys ready to be held accountable for what you have done? Because every day your bill adds up higher and higher. It's going to get to the point to where what you owe is going to be way more than you have to give. So, congratulations. You guys are officially supporters of the most evil man that ever walked this earth. And this is who y'all look up to. This is who y'all support. This is who y'all praise. God has to be severely disappointed in his creations. I can imagine just how disappointed he is in you. I hope you sleep well with that.
Okay, let me get this straight. You're telling all the homeless people they have to leave. First off, most of the homeless people ain't got the network you announced it on, the social media network. Second of all, a lot of them don't even have phones or social media. Let's just be honest. Also, you want them to leave, but don't they need some kind of help to leave? Am I not right? They would need some kind of help. So they would need like a program to help them to be able to get back on their feet. Am I not right? But yet you cut all these programs and even cut stuff like PBS to build a $200 million ballroom, which that money could be used to help the homeless and help them find housing and
Excuse me, ma'am, are you homeless? Yeah. Oh, you gotta clear the area. Wait, what? Yeah, they banned homelessness around here. You can't be homeless no more. Yeah, oh my, yes, homelessness is banned? What you cheering for? Well, I'm assuming that means that like y'all are about to give us housing and resources. Like y'all fixed homelessness, like you can't, it's banned. Girl, what? Now, why in the hell would you think we doing something like that? Right, I should have known that. I'm sorry, this doesn't make any sense to me. Is this even legal? Do it feel legal? Do it matter? Like, where are we supposed to go? How am I supposed to get there? What am I supposed to do when I get there? I'm looking at 2 legs. Well, he only got 1. You must be a veteran, huh? Yeah, okay. We stopped giving a fuck about y'all a long time ago. Okay, but I'm homeless. I don't have anywhere to go. Girl, listen, I'm just trying to tell you. I suggest you clear the area before I come back around here. Because if I don't catch you, you know who else is coming? The National Guard. You know how they get down. It seems like my only options are to go to jail or come up dead. Exactly. And to be honest, either way. Yeah, I mean, either way don't make no difference to me. Couple wet wipes cased up and try to touch me. Ew. And can somebody tell her to put her gun down, please? Huh? Somebody say something?
It's crazy. Homelessness in America. People sleeping on the streets in real life. That's crazy. Wow. The people across the street having parties. These guys are sleeping on the street. It's like a whole stretch. One side of poverty, the other side is party cats. So that's crazy. We'll party on the other side and see people sleeping over here. Okay, this ain't no South Africa. This ain't no Philippines.
Yeah. It's the United States of America. And we got a nice resident right there. They probably paying like $1,500 a month for rent. But people sleeping right outside. And it's sad though. Like a whole stress and shit like that. I could keep going. You know we're bringing nothing about the real. Some people will go like, oh well, not my city, I don't care. It's still the United States. Oh, not my town. You shut up. Thanks for watching, appreciate you. Chitlins on life. Like, share, follow, subscribe, do what you gotta do. Support your boy.
I came to DC back in 2012 to take care of some personal issues, and I wasn't able to get inside, and I had to wind up sleeping on the street. I took the Greyhound bus down, and I had to roam around the DC neighborhood for a while just to learn the neighborhood. And you will want to have to try to find someplace safe for yourself, so you can close your eyes, you know, feel safe. So you try to find a busy community or a busy area. A lot of little churches to help out. The churches have little communities involved, little organizations inside, and they do be helping the people. You can go to, you know, you get free meal, you can get clothes. But I was able to put my name on a voucher. It's called a public housing voucher, and they were able to give me a place to stay.